Welcome to IDB, everybody. It is Andrew here. The iPhone X has been released, and so has just a huge swath of app updates. There have been tons of them. I have found just a few of my favorites that I think look really great, work really well, and take advantage of some of the neat features on the iPhone X. Starting off with 1Password, which has been updated to version 7. One of the biggest new features is the ability to use Face ID instead of Touch ID. When it prompts you, just hit OK, and now it'll scan your face to allow you into the app. It also has a bunch of other new features like the ability to copy very quickly, takes advantage of the notch very well, and allows you easy access to the bottom, nothing getting overlaid. Looks really great and at home on the iPhone X. Speaking of looking really great, Alto's Adventure has been updated for the iPhone X to take advantage of that big, beautiful display. Alto's Adventure is from Snowman. This is one of my favorite games. I love it both on my iPhone as well as on my Apple TV. The new update looks really great. I love how much it fills up the whole display, and the notch really doesn't bother me at all. It's behind your character, so it doesn't really play any factor when you're playing, at least when you have the notch designated over here to the left. But it looks really great and just looks amazing on that bright new OLED display. So this is definitely something I'm going to be spending some time with, and I really can't wait to see it on the new upcoming Alto's Odyssey, the sequel to this fantastic game. Recently we've looked at Apollo, which is a new Reddit client from actually an ex-Apple employee. And it takes advantage of a lot of the great things that iOS has to offer. And it's been updated again for the iPhone X. And everything does look pretty great here on this new edge-to-edge display. Everything is smooth and quick. They take advantage of the space at the top for the notch to display some information that would have been taking up some screen real estate, and keeping everything cleaned up along the bottom so you don't have any issues. If you really want to dig into this app, I definitely recommend you do, because there's a lot of really cool features like GIF scrubbing, where you can actually come in here, play a GIF, and just scrub your finger across it to go back and forth. It's pretty cool. So this is definitely an app to check out. You can see our full review. I'll link it in this video. We also saw an update to Carrot Weather. It updated to use that full display all the way up there to the notch, and leaving some space below at the bottom for that home bar. Not only that, but this app uses an AR mode. Now there are plenty of AR apps, and obviously the AR apps work on previous generations of the iPhone. That's not something that's specific to the iPhone X, but it does work really smooth, and that's probably going to be the case with most AR apps out there. It just overall works really nicely. It is super fast, super smooth, and everything looks great on this display. I'm not saying this app in any way takes advantage of anything different in the iPhone X than it does on the iPhone 8 or the iPhone 7, but how cool is this AR mode? If for some reason, just fun to pull Carrot up on AR mode and just tap his ocular sensor as he's floating around on your desk. But just throwing that out there, it was updated to take advantage of the display, and it looks really nice. And since we're looking at weather apps, Dark Sky also got updated very recently as well to take advantage of it. It looks really nice, like you'd expect that it should. They updated their layout to take advantage of the notches at the top to display the time and other information there, and just being able to keep everything nice and cleaned up, as well as working things out on the bottom so nothing interferes with that home bar getting you back to the home screen. Dark Sky is pretty much one of my go-to apps, so I was glad to see that it got that minor update to take advantage of the new screen. A big update came to Darkroom. A lot of really great features here, really a whole new UI to take advantage of the screen. Like for instance, on top we now have a back button in the top left kind of ear, and on the right hand side we have another contextual menu as well as the share sheet. So they do a really good job of taking advantage of that, and they also take advantage of other features for the iPhone, such as like the P3 wide color gamut. It's still a little bit awkward here at the bottom as I'm trying to adjust saturation. It was trying to swipe back to a previous application, so a little funky, but overall really great. One of the most popular productivity apps on the iPhone, Fantastical, has been updated to take advantage of the iPhone X. Really nice here. There's not a lot to see. It's still Fantastical. It looks great on such a nice big display. It has an automatic new layout, and they've added their new color going all the way up to the top behind those ears and handling that notch. Of course, it's still easy to get back to the home screen using the home bar down there at the bottom. While Darkroom is one of my favorite apps to edit photos, one of my favorite apps to take photos is Halide. And they've updated theirs with a whole new UI, pretty much built from the ground up for the iPhone X. In the two notches at the top, you can see we have the histogram in the top left and the exposure adjustment in the top right. All the controls are also accessible easily from your thumb, whether you're adjusting your shooting mode, or you're adjusting the focus manually or auto, or swapping that camera around, even jumping between the tele-lens and the wide-angle lens, and a new depth feature. You can take depth photos, capture that depth data, and turn it into a portrait photo in the Photos app. Here you can see if I go ahead and lock onto something and adjust the exposure, you can see how the histogram changes as well as the exposure in the top right. While some apps kind of just do a refresh, Fantastical, Dark Sky, great, they updated it, takes advantage of the new display, perfect, still great app. But Halide and Darkroom, they seem to have gone to the completely next level, really adding some features to that extra screen real estate and the notches instead of just utilizing it for some background color. Super Mario Run has been one of my favorite games since it's been released, especially with the new content like Remix 10. It's been updated for the iPhone 10 just to fill in all of that area, completely fill in the display, and it looks really good. Everything is fast, snappy, and gorgeous, beautiful colors here in Super Mario Run. The iPhone 10 has a brand new display, which you may or may not have noticed, and it actually is an HDR display. It can display high dynamic range video content, and one of the apps that is capable of displaying HDR content is Netflix, as well as Amazon Video. And while Arrested Development may not be HDR, it's definitely a great show that you should probably catch up on before the new season releases. Of course, you can double tap to get into the to bring the video wider, but again, you have that notch taking up a little bit of space. For podcast fans, the Overcast podcast player has been updated to take advantage of all that extra screen real estate, make sure everything works in the UI layout. If you have any good podcasts, I particularly like the iDownload blog Let's Talk iOS podcast. I hear it's pretty great. So you can definitely download that and listen to it in the updated Overcast podcast, which supports things like CarPlay and now the iPhone 10. Lastly, there's another new game, which is from Sega, Sonic Forces Speed Battle. This is another kind of endless runner style game, but you play as Sonic and you collect coins. I've been a fan of Sonic for a while, and this is just another easy game, easy to play one-handed, perfect for the iPhone 10, and takes advantage of that full display. You can see how all the motion is moving behind the notch, and it's not just blacked out, so just the game looks much better on this full screen experience than if it had bars on the top and the bottom. So that's it. There are all of my favorite apps so far that have been updated for the iPhone 10. There are tons of apps that have been updated for iOS 10. This is not just iOS 11 and the iPhone 10. These are not to say these are the only ones out there, and I want to hear what your favorites are. And to find more apps, Apple has actually updated the App Store with other great apps like Afterlight 2, One Day Journal, Dashlane, and they have special featured sections both in apps for any great apps, as well in the games category. So you can find other new games and apps that take advantage of all the new features of the iPhone 10. Some that look great, that take advantage of HDR or Face ID or the spiffy new cameras. So all of those are here in the App Store. I want you to go check it out. Let me know if you find any other great apps that absolutely take advantage of the iPhone 10 in really creative ways. Let us know down below in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. And until next time, this is Andrew for IDB.